Good morning. I'm going to, for a change, turn things around and just let you see what I see, or at least a little bit of what I see when I'm riding my bicycle. And you don't see me, you don't have to see me. You can just simply listen to the sound of my voice, not be distracted by me. And it makes it easier for you to get a sense what this embodied language is all about. Yes, I am talking about my embodied language, which is happening because I listen to myself while I speak. And you can hear when a person listens to him or herself while he or she speaks. You can hear that I sound different than other people, because other people don't listen to themselves while they speak. And so what that means is also that they would never talk about the fact that it is even possible to listen to ourselves while we speak. Yeah, I talk about that because I do listen to myself. Yeah, and the people who do not listen to themselves, they never talk about listening to themselves. They do not even know what it is like to listen to themselves. So they are very concerned about whether others are listening to them, or they are also very busy with listening to others. And you are probably also, when you listen to this video, you're probably listening very attentively because you're trying to figure out, what is this stuff that he's talking about? What is this embodied language that he's talking about? Well, embodied language is when you listen to yourself. So it's not about listening to me, it's about listening to yourself. Now, if you really listen to me, that's one interesting part of this this particular way of talking, or this way of dealing with language. Good morning. Have a great walk. Hi. If you do that, if you would take this more serious, what I am saying, then it's very interesting how listening to me can then be experienced as if you are listening to yourself. And I hope in this video to introduce you to that. So I know you're listening to me, and you know you're listening to me too, but I want you to recognize that I am listening to myself, and that you are listening to a person who's listening to himself. Yeah? And so a person who is speaking and listening to himself sounds similar to any other person who speaks with him or herself and who listens to him or herself. Yeah? So I sound at this moment in the same way as how you would sound if you were to talk with yourself and listen to yourself. Yeah, this is not some fancy. No, this is really true. And of course, the opposite is also true. Yeah, I don't want to record the people that are walking on this path here. Hello, hi, good morning. Hi. So, as I was saying, the opposite is of course also true, that when you are not listening to yourself, yeah, when you're not listening to yourself, then you also sound exactly like everybody else who is not listening to themselves. Yeah. So just notice the difference. What is different about me as someone who is listening to themselves, as opposed to someone who doesn't listen to himself? Yeah, that is the big difference, right? So the sun is about to come up. I'm just holding my phone in my other hand. It's kind of fun to have the phone in my hand and to to see what I see in front of me on my screen. It's kind of nice. Well, there you go. That is a good indication that I was just giving. And you hear the airplane flying over. We are living near an airport, by the way. I remember when we first got here, that airport seems to make so much noise. And now we have already lived here for quite some years. I don't hear these airplanes anymore. I have habituated to the sound of these airplanes. And even though they fly over, they're not that heavy. But some of them make a lot of noise and others, they make less noise. But what I'm saying here is that, yeah, habituation is of course a big part of why you are used to not listening to yourself. Why you don't even notice the difference between what it is like to listen to yourself, yeah, and not to listen to yourself. So that difference is going to jump out at you when you hear your own sound while you speak. Yeah. And your own sound is, of course, something that has to do with how you feel. Yeah, your sound is not just merely your sound. Your sound always reflects how you feel. So you can hear, in the sound of your voice, you can hear, if you listen carefully, you hear exactly whether you are stressed, whether you're worried, whether you have slept well, whether you are tired, whether you are energized, whether you feel good, whether you're positive or negative. You can hear it in the sound of your voice. You can hear in the sound of your own voice whether you are satisfied, whether you're anxious, whether you're frustrated, whether you're curious, whether you are peaceful. I've never used my phone in this way before. This is the first time today that I use my phone in this way. Isn't that amazing? And this is how everybody else uses their phone. Everybody else always uses their phone to film others. No, they also film themselves. Sorry, I make a mistake. Look at that pigeon. Isn't it beautiful? No. I was trying to make a comparison, but that doesn't work, because people, of course, also record themselves like I did, and But for me, it is true that I have never used my phone in this way. So, what does that mean? I don't know. I'm just saying something, and I'm allowing myself to say something not knowing what it means, or allowing myself to say whatever I want to say, and maybe I'll figure out what it means, or maybe there's something interesting that comes off of it, and maybe not. It doesn't matter, you see. And that is also part of embodied language, that there is this freedom, this exploration, this lack of judgment. Judgment, like oh, it has to be like this, has to be like that. No, you can just let it be what it is. And because of that, you are able to say all sorts of things which otherwise you would never be able to say. So yeah, there was a mosquito. These mosquitoes, even while I ride my bicycle, they are still able to land on me and suck the life out of me. That's just so horrible. These mosquitoes, they know how to get to me. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I managed to chase it off, and I saved myself from another itchy episode. Yeah, because whenever they have landed on me and they bite me, it itches for quite a while. Luckily, this mosquito didn't get to me. So now I'm going here, in here. Isn't that nice? You're just riding along with me. Do you know what this reminds me of? This was I have a good memory of this, or a happy memory of this. In the old days, my father, he used to have a little seat for us as little kids, and he could hang that seat on the front of his bicycle, and so we would be seated facing forward in a little seat, a little children's seat, which was hanging on the steer. How do you say that? On the front of the bicycle, like that. And we would just sit there, looking forward, and while my father was riding the bicycle. Actually, in the old days, they had seats like that, one for in the front and one for in the back. Can you believe that? And so, yeah, my father had two of us on his bicycle. And that's how a family was transporting itself back in the days. Or at least sometimes, not always, but sometimes. Nice, eh? The sun is coming through here. Oh, I'm just gonna make a turn here. I'm just going over there. I want to be on the path near the sun. I don't want to. If I would have continued on the path that I was on, I would have been in the shadow of the houses. But since the sun is just so beautifully coming over the hills, I want to be part of that. So yeah, no, so that's a happy memory of me riding in that seat at the front of my father's bicycle. That was a very comfortable feeling, and yeah, a happy childhood memory that suddenly is coming back because of my way of recording today. All right, here we go on the gravel path again. That is so nice. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? So, do you hear how you could sound if you would just listen to yourself? Do you recognize that it sounds different? Yeah. You sound different, you sound comfortable when you listen to yourself. You sound totally at ease. You sound not distracted. not upset. You sound positive. You sound grateful, happy, alive. Just enjoying yourself. And there's nothing to achieve. There's nothing to, there's nothing to understand. There's nothing to do. You are just you. And your language fits with what you are saying. Your language fits with your experience. Your language fits with what you are describing. And there's no conflict whatsoever. You are just enjoying the beautiful morning, or wherever you are. You are just enjoying yourself. You're just having a good time. I'm going to take it in my other hand again. What a sight, eh? That sun is so pretty as it just comes over the mountains there. Yeah. And it's so nice. There's no people inside. It's just me talking. And it might as well have been you who was doing the talking. It might as well have been anyone who does the talking. So what you hear in that is also that there is no message, in the sense that there's no important content that you have to focus on, or I don't know, concentrate or try to understand. There's nothing like that. It's just enjoying, listening, and being part of this. Yeah? Do you get that? You're part of this. You're being totally part of it. You're so much being part of it that you're no longer there. You have dissolved in this video. You have dissolved in this listening, in this sunrise. Yeah? In this wonderful moment of enlightenment, where you hear ongoing embodied language, which is our language enlightenment. There is no other way to refer to it. Yeah? If we would continue with our embodied language, we would hear how our language enlightenment is revealed. And that is exactly, and don't make any mystical connotations with that. It is simply the fact that you are saying what you're capable of saying, that you're enjoying what you're saying, that you understand what you're saying, that there's no conflict in what you're saying. There's just you being with yourself at ease. And where are you? There is no, you don't take up any space with your words. You're not making a big deal out of anything. You're not trying to be interesting or trying to be important. You're out of sight. And you're into the light. Here they're spraying the fields there. And maybe you want to have a look at your... Here, do you see the shadow of my bike ride far away? You see the shadow is following me. That's all you get to see today. Let's see if I can make it into this video and wave at you. Do you see me? I hope you can see me. I was waving. I still want to continue for a little while because I also have a new experience by making this video in this particular way, and I want to talk about that new experience that I'm having. Just a second, I get tired. I gotta put it in my other hand again. Yes. Whoops. Yeah, it's a perfect day for jogging. Morning. It's a perfect day for jogging, and in a little while I will be doing that too. Yeah, this is the time of the day one should go jogging and maybe swim in the creek. Not today, but some other time I will go jogging and swimming in the creek. But as I was saying, the difference between looking at myself and not looking at myself while I'm speaking is kind of like a double-edged sword. Yeah, on the one hand it helps, but on the other hand it doesn't help. It helps in the fact that you see yourself, and seeing yourself talk is proof. Yeah, you see this mouth moving and you see your face being alive with what you're saying. And so all of that is in support of the fact that language is overt. Yeah, it's in support of the fact that language does not occur inside of you, as everybody believes, because of their disembodied language. Everybody believes that language happens inside of them, that they have thoughts, that there's a dialogue inside of themselves, that they have words that they bring out, the words from within. No, that's not what happens. When you see yourself talk, you realize that no, I'm talking, the language is outside of me. I express it and I hear it. So yeah, seeing yourself, it is kind of like visual proof that language is overt. And similarly, yeah, if you would write something down, you can read it. That would also be another visual proof that language is overt. Language is on paper. Language is on a screen. Yeah, it's out there. It's not inside of you. However, there's of course also a downside to seeing yourself while you talk, because those very same visual stimuli can be a distraction from paying attention to what you are hearing. Yeah, and this has been going on forever, that people are hung up on what they say, yeah, the content, but they are not paying attention to how they're saying it. And yeah, they do not realize that this emphasis on what they're saying also ties in with visual stimuli, because this is also why we emphasize printed language over spoken language. Yeah, presumably printed language is more important. Well, it is not, because spoken language sets the stage for printed language. Yeah, so we write in the way that we speak. But somehow this has all been forgotten, because presumably what is written is more important than what we say. And of course it is that way, because what is written was all based on our disembodied language. And therefore what we were saying was presumably more important than how we were saying it. Yeah, this is a big issue. And so looking at yourself, yeah, while you are talking and recording yourself, can be a help, but it can also be an incredible impairment of your ability to listen to yourself, because yeah, you are sort of looking at yourself as if other people are looking at you, and then you're speaking with yourself as if you're talking with somebody else, as if you're talking with someone who other people are hearing. And so you are listening to yourself from the perspective as if you are listening to someone else. Do you get that? Yeah, I hope you do, because all of this is part of, yeah, the difference that I'm experiencing in my recording today. Yeah, and it's very important to recognize that difference, because yeah, that difference is really there. So this is also why the absence of visual stimuli, when you listen, close your eyes and you listen to nice music, you hear, yeah, you hear the music. You can hear how beautiful the music sounds. So, okay, now, okay, do you hear how also the whole video that I have made, yeah, it's going to be a video of 30 minutes. Yeah, we still got 2.5 more minutes. But do you realize that all these 30 minutes you've been listening to me, but you've been listening to a person who's listening to himself, and listening to a person who's listening to himself or listening to herself would actually give you that feeling as if you are doing the talking, as if you could be saying what I'm saying. And of course you could. Of course you could do what I'm doing. And then if you would do that often enough, because yeah, it would really require you to do that not just once or not just sometimes. No, it would really be important to do this very often, so that you become familiar with your embodied language. If you do that, if you in 2025 familiarize yourself with embodied language, with what this is, yeah, listening to yourself, talking with yourself, yeah, feeling good about yourself, feeling good about your language, being clear with yourself, being at ease with yourself, being one with yourself. If you do that in 2025, then I am pretty sure that in 2026 we will be able to have this conversation together. And then, yeah, we will celebrate our language enlightenment together. Yeah. And I look forward to that. And I'm already celebrating my language enlightenment right now. And if you listen closely, attentively, you hear your own language enlightenment in what I'm saying. Yeah, because I am listening to myself, and I know that I'm doing this, and you would be knowing this too if you were to listen to yourself. It's not something imagined. No, it is real, and it is very, very pleasant. Okay, now I'm greeting you today in this way. Bye. Bye.